Now I'm gonna just ask kind of like for Craig's version because Craig said he has his own version of how you guys got started. So
Oh
Craig, take
yeah. No, I always make this joke that like because when I met Fiorella, it was a big wow situation, but it was the burner thing. And I always make this joke that I walked into the restaurant and I was a corporate manager and I saw her and she was pouring soy sauces together and there was this song by In Excess playing. You were standing, but it was a great like marriage of a show idea. You know what I'm saying? It was just the person I met that was so intelligent. She was young, and at that time, I was so battling my family with, oh, millennials are this, oh, millennials are that. And then I met Fiorella, and she was just like awesome. And I would go get into Facebook fights, and I'd say, Fiorella, am I saying this right? Because I don't have a lot of college like you do and stuff. And she would, she actually gave me confidence on what I was doing and what I was saying. And really, she lifted me up, and we just had the same message that we wanted to get out there. So, I always make that joke, and that's why she says she has to say it. But it was true. When I met her, it was like political love at first sight because this girl was just so out there. She was a burner. And you didn't meet as many people so devoted as she was. And it just shows today where the show's at. 2 years later, where we're at, how we're growing and whatnot. We brought our passion and, we put it out there. So, I mean, it was a true story of political love at first sight because she's amazing. And when Jonny came, another political love at first sight last year, he was just coming out, just graduated from UCF. He's an aerospace engineer. And he came out to visit and he says, well, let me see what I can do with your show. And he just took the show from here to there and all the graphics, all that great stuff you see, all the videos we made. And it's been the dream team. And even though it's been a struggle financially because YouTube's suppressing us and everybody's suppressing us,
yeah.
I couldn't be happier than I am right now and where I am in life, being able to squeak and having people like yourselves that we get to go on the show and we're working together. And it's entertaining and it's fascinating as well can be right now politically. I love it.
So I think there's something we need to address because first, there's a lot of issues happening in various different states. And I've seen some of your earlier work and some of your recent work addressing some of the corruption in the state of California. And let's face it, California is going to be a key primary state. And you guys have been to a few conventions where some of the Democratic leaders and candidates are actually, going there, holding rallies and events. And I just kind of want to get, your thoughts really about the significance of California for this 2020 election cycle, and really what the role of the DNC and who they're influencing, the power players that are there on the ground that are trying to, I guess, make sure the establishment gets its way. I mean, what does the grassroots movement look like over there? Can you guys tell us? I think we'll start with Fee first.
Yeah. So the grassroots movement is very strong here. We have some of the best organizers and activists on the ground that ever since Bernie, the California election was also one of the ones that was quote unquote rigged, and a lot of provisional ballots were thrown out, not counted, hidden, etc. Have been pushing for Bernie to be elected, to run again. So there's a lot of that there. There's also the activism involving the homelessness crisis that we're facing, the housing crisis, the environmental crisis. So the grassroots is there on that. The problem is that the grassroots here is not in power in terms of the California Democratic Party, which is by far the largest and wealthiest state party in the country. I think it is actually far richer than the entire national Democratic Party. And so what we're seeing is that the neoliberals and the centrists control the party. They're corrupt. They try to overtake progressives. They do everything they can to smear them. There was a candidate that ran against Anthony Rendon. Her name is Maria Estrada. She ran against Rendon for a state senate, and she experienced election fraud herself. She took it to the court, and they have not been able to do anything because Rendon has a mafia of people. And let it be known that Rendon was the one who killed single payer completely in California. Yeah. And we also have Alex Padilla, who's the Secretary of State, and he was largely going and campaigning for Hillary Clinton while he was the Secretary of State of California. So I know that in Chicago, there's a lot of corruption in Illinois in general. And just like that over here, there's a lot of that. And it's very hard to break in. Some of my friends in San Diego have broken into the county parties of the Democratic Party, trying to slowly kind of overtake the parties. But it is very difficult because these people put in money, they put in smears, they bust people in, they do everything they can to stop us. However, I think California is pivotal to this election. I think it's pivotal to Bernie Sanders winning. We have the largest delegate number, I believe, in the country, and we also have a vast majority of the Latino population here. We also are dealing with issues in immigration here. And I think more of the candidates need to pay attention, but they're just not doing it. And also, we're second after the first primary. We come in March 3rd is when our primary is.
Earlier this year.
Wow, March 3rd. Oh, wow. That's incredible to hear. So I think, Craig, I'm going to ask you this question, and Fiorella, you could definitely comment on this too. You guys, in collaboration with Nico House, had the opportunity to speak to Representative Tulsi Gabbard, and of course now there's a lot of momentum happening for her campaign and her recent stepping up against, Hillary Clinton when she has made this false accusation saying that she's a Russian asset. And now recently, Senator Bernie Sanders has also come into defense of Representative Tulsi Gabbard. So I just want to kind of get your thoughts and ideas about her campaign and the significance that she will play in this 2020 election cycle. I've named her and Andrew Yang as two wild cards that could potentially shake up the convention. Again, my own personal point of view is I believe that Bernie Sanders has the main momentum and political infrastructure to win the nomination. But what role do you think Tulsi Gabbard will play at the end result of this Democratic primary? What will happen in the long run, since you guys actually had a chance to speak to her during the show and even after the show?
The main thing is that I firmly believe that Bernie Sanders can't win without Tulsi Gabbard. I'm not going to trust them going to the convention with Bernie Sanders being slightly short of 50% and Elizabeth Warren handing over those delegates. I'm not going to count on that. I don't like Elizabeth Warren and never have. We follow the money here. Tulsi is pivotal. She's also amazing. The thing that we get called the Tulsi-crats, that we're sycophants and whatnot. Tulsi never screens our questions, and we ask her the hardest questions. Like I said at the last rally, the first person to ask her a question about Kashmir. And if you're a Tulsi fan, you want her to stay away from Kashmir because you know her enemies are going to use it against her. Fiorella asked her about that. I asked her about the NED in China. So it just speaks volumes of her character that she'll always take time for independent media questions, and she never screens them. She must be saying, all right, I'm going over here to see some people who are Tulsi-crats, but they're going to ask me hard questions because that's what we do. We vet the candidates we like. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's really important for me. And I think by far the role she will play is getting these people outside the Democratic Party, because the Democratic Party, especially in California, and Fiorella can tell you, they can't think outside of their echo chamber. They are stuck in it. She will get those independents, those libertarians, and she will bring them along to help get Bernie over the top. And that's what I hope. If something should happen and she has to be the breadwinner, I'm just going to go out and fight all for it because she's just an amazing person. And even the questions we asked her in that interview, she keeps progressing on. She keeps getting better on. She pays attention to her base, and sky's the limit for her. So,
just to piggyback of what he said, I think Bernie Sanders has the biggest shot to win this. You're right. He has the biggest infrastructure, but also he has a large enemies. And like what Pasta said, I believe Tulsi is somebody that together with Bernie Sanders would be unstoppable. Let me just phrase that. Tulsi Gabbard is fighting the military-industrial complex. Nobody is fighting the military-industrial complex with such veracity as she is, and she is making huge enemies. She has since she stepped down and endorsed him in 2016. Bernie Sanders is focused on the domestic side of things, on the corporate oligarchy. He's getting so much hate based on these rich billionaires like Bezos, like Zuckerberg, who are afraid of Bernie and the wealth tax, let's say, he's imposing. He's fighting for Medicare for all, so he has the insurance companies after him. He's fighting against Big Pharma, so he has those after him. He's fighting for education for all, for medical debt forgiveness, student debt forgiveness, all of it, combined with her foreign policy and his domestic policy. Those two are the biggest threats to the establishment, both arms, the military and the corporate. And so I think it is pivotal that she's there, like Pasta. I also think that she is an independent. I think she is an independent thinker at the very least. I know she's running as a Democrat, just like Bernie's running as a Democrat, but I think that they're both more independent thinkers. I think Tulsi is getting a lot of those libertarian, Republican points of views. And I think that she is able to do that this time around. She's seen as a fighter. We saw what she did to Hillary Clinton. We saw what she's going to continue pushing that envelope, whereas Bernie Sanders is kind of backing off a bit, but that's okay because she can do it. And we need to support progressives. And I think Andrew Yang is another one that is probably my third pick for somebody that could actually, start things in the Democratic Party, at least bring some new ideas. I don't agree with his economic policies, but I do think that he's offering new ideas. And it's great that we have these candidates there. I don't consider Elizabeth Warren a progressive in any way, shape, or form at all. And I think thinking of her and elevating her to the status as Bernie Sanders as another progressive is going to hurt Bernie Sanders in the end. And people better start differentiating between her and Bernie Sanders.
So I want to get your perspective on this too, because we've definitely been talking and covering the live streams of the Democratic debates, and I just want to kind of get your thoughts on regards to how corporate media is really, supporting people like Biden or giving more talking time to Warren. Whether you compare that to Tulsi Gabbard, it's like night and day. So I want to get your thoughts on really like what is the narrative of the DNC establishment, especially as you've kind of told us what role they're playing, especially in California. So can you give us that kind of an idea of like your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so that is to me an obvious systemic type of rigging, right? Like the mainstream media and the DNC, as Tulsi pointed out, rigged the election in 2016 for Bernie Sanders against Bernie Sanders, and they're doing it again via polls that are manufactured, polls that have horrible sample sizes, basic statistics. Like you need a wide range of sample sizes. You need to have different methods of getting this. You don't just need to go on and call people on landlines. Millennials don't answer phone calls that they don't know where they're coming from either. You're only targeting a certain population over the age of 40. You're not really going to get the most accurate representation. And so these polls, in addition to the mainstream media propaganda machine that's propping up Elizabeth Warren, that's propping up Joe Biden. Joe Biden isn't even campaigning anymore. And we're also looking at how Third Way and these centrist think tanks are also doing that. They're also pushing Elizabeth Warren. That's another reason why I know she's not a progressive. And then there's the money. You follow the money, and all of these establishment corporations are putting money into smearing people like Bernie, saying, he's still affiliated with Russia. They're still saying he's a communist. And then when it comes to Tulsi Gabbard, now we're seeing the whole, she's a Russian asset. She's an Assad apologist. She's in love with Modi. She's Putin's bot. And anybody that stands against war and against the establishment is now officially a threat. And so they're vilifying these people, these outside candidates, and they're pushing up their candidates. And so when you go to a debate and you only give candidates that you don't like 3 minutes max time, people are like, well, okay, they're not polling that high, so it's okay. No, they gave Bernie Sanders the same amount of time. It was 8 minutes and something, I think, or even 7 minutes and something, as Amy Klobuchar, who has been polling in 1% to 2% range, who nobody really cares about. Yeah. And they gave her and Bernie the same amount of time, and they gave Elizabeth Warren so much more time. So it's not just that they can use the excuse that these people aren't polling well. It's the fact that they're choosing who they're giving time to, and then the questions that they ask also matter.
Yeah, and you see what's going on too. I mean, I think we're both doing a great job. Your show, my show. I think Jimmy Dore says too, he's done a great job out of his garage. We do a great job. We do better news out of our basement over here and stuff like that. But we're growing because they're a part of it. The mainstream media is just so in the tank, and people are waking up to it. That's why our live streams, your live streams, they keep growing and growing. The views keep growing and growing. And I don't know if this has been going on with you, but lately our subscriptions have been frozen and going down, because the mainstream media is also part of the social media that they're trying to suppress over here as well. And they're giving multi-million dollars to people who are like stars or in the bag to go on YouTube now while they're suppressing our voices. So the more they do it, the more they're just going to get exposed. That's why shows like ours are so important, and we just keep on spreading the message of truth. But, they can do what they want to do. As far as I'm concerned, they've been exposed, and people know it. And in 10 years, in 5 years, you might not even see CNN and MSNBC around. You'll probably always see Fox, and we'll probably help people go to sleep at night, that group. But for the most part, the mainstream media has been in the bag, in the tank, and guys like Bakari Sellers can just say that shit on live TV about her being a Russian asset with no proof whatsoever. Mm-hmm. It's totally disgusting. But hey, Hard Lens and the Convo Couch, thanks you guys for being so bad.
Yeah, so yeah, and actually, kind of because I want to bring up my fellow co-hosts, because Daniel and Paul on Friday's show mentioned, and this is kind of when I had my little anger rant towards corporate media. Like, we wouldn't be here if they didn't make such a if CNN was doing such a competent job. We wouldn't be here if MSNBC was on point. I think as we're winding down, I want to be very clear, just maybe short term, like really, what do you think the role of independent will be? In regards to this 2020 election cycle and going forward, what is significance and why is it important now more than ever for people to actually support independent media?
Well, I think more than ever, independent media is going to be the key to making sure that people get the right information out there. Because in 2016, we were just kind of starting to see the independent media build up at that level. And, we saw people like Miko House talk about the fraudulent events going on in the Carolinas. And then we saw Jimmy Dore kind of rise up. And then we saw a bunch of independent media. Well, now we have the knowledge of the experience that we underwent, not only in that election, but also through media and through just understanding the political system and how everything works out. And so now we are coming to it as a little bit more armored and more ready to what's going to happen. We expect a sort of rigging. We expect these smears to keep happening. And this is why the public is going to have to be, it's going to open their eyes even more. We saw the beginning of an awakening with what Bernie Sanders did. And so now we're seeing our eyes be completely open and everybody kind of come to terms with the fact that this establishment, this country is so corrupt and that the media is a tool used by the oligarchs to lie to people and frame a certain narrative. And so more and more people realize that than we think. It's just that they feel helpless. They don't know what to do. A lot of people who don't vote feel like they need a reason to vote. That's why so many people loved when Tulsi Gabbard came out and said those things about Hillary Clinton, because they have been waiting for somebody to actually call them out like that. This big Clinton machine that has so much power and is so feared by so many people. And so our role as independent media is going to be to say the truth no matter what. It's going to be in these places and go and challenge the establishment. Every single time they put up a smear, we say the actual truth. And every single time they try to push war or push a corporate perspective, we push the truth of the people. We're supposed to be the fourth estate. The media was always supposed to be the fourth estate. Somewhere along the way, it completely lost that. And it's been like this for a long time. It's been, a sort of exterior of outside arm of the political establishment. So it's time we take our media back the same way we're taking our government back. The media is also of the people.
And I love Angry Kit Cabela too.
I've been seeing a lot of that on social media.
Yeah, who doesn't love Angry Kit?
Yeah,
what we got to do, Kit? We got to continue to take the lane. They provided a lane. Let's take it. The reason why our shows are growing right now is because we're building trust. And that's a big thing right now. And here's something that's really good about the Convo Couch and Hardlands. We're producers too as well. We put on our producer's hat. I was along with that journey when you guys were searching for that studio and whatnot. And I always saw what you guys wanted to do to bring that production value there, to keep people interested, to keep people entertained. It's one thing of just putting the information out there, and that's so important. But sometimes how you do it is so key. That's why the Convo Couch to me, and we talked about it yesterday, we were looking for a spot. When we sat down together, I said, Fiorella, to me, the most important thing is location, location, location. I want us to be in a location that's going to look good production-wise, and we can be comfortable and just let go. So the first place we looked at, we saw this big couch, and I was like, we started playing around here. Let's be on the couch. Let's get this there. Let's invite people in. Let's be entertaining. Let's be fam, is what we call it and whatnot. So we wanted to accomplish that, and I think we are. So right now, it's very important for you guys, us, and a lot of other guys like us, and a lot of girls like us, to take the lane provided. Continue to build trust, because pretty soon, CNN and MSNBC will be gone. They have just been propagating bullshit for the deep state for so long. It's just a ticking time bomb. So for us, let's just take this lane they gave us and go with it.
And also, just real quick, cryptocurrencies and other forms like Rockfin is what we're on. Those are coming out because YouTube is censoring us and shadow banning and taking the money. We had trouble being monetized too for the longest time. And when we were finally monetized, they demonetized a lot of our videos. So
yeah. And you should be like at 14,000, 15,000 subscribers right now. they turned the faucet off on you guys too. And it's like they got us all in one big block. Me, you, Graham, Ron Placone, Jamal Thomas, Nico House. They just turned the faucet off and start unsubscribing people. So don't think that they aren't doing it, because they are definitely doing it. And we had the Google data dumper on here explaining to us that there's a force against us. And it's establishment neoliberal group that's out for our asses, the libertarians and the progressives.
Right. And that's the thing. I've always been telling people, double check and triple check that you're subscribed. YouTube is acting weird. And to quote Jimmy Dore, it's all not quoting Jimmy Dore, George Carlin. It's one big club, and you're not in.
You ain't in it.
We're live, folks. So there we go. Making some mistakes here and there, but nonetheless, I think it's very important to note for our viewers, because I believe in collaboration and working together, and obviously spreading the word. We need to have independent media. But before we do, I just because of this question right here, I want to ask you where people can find you. But I want to just read 2 live stream super chats, because you got to acknowledge people helping us out. Kyle Dawson mentions this. Forget Bernie, hashtag Tulsi or bust. Well, Bernie and Representative Tulsi Gabbard are friends. So, I mean, I understand where some people definitely like one candidate over another, but they are friends with each other. And then shout out to Pop Reality. Tulsi don't have the name recognition or the movement. Her biggest contribution will be her endorsement of Bernie, and I donated to her. She'll be a great Secretary of State. It's going to be determined what role people will play and how this convention will play out. I know for our experience, or at least what we've talked about, myself and the rest of the team, we are going to be in Milwaukee. It's really close to Chicago. It's not that close, but it's like a 2 or 3 hour drive. But nonetheless, we're going to be there on the ground. This convention in 2020 will be very significant, and hopefully it goes away. We want it to go, but this is why people need to get involved, and I think people need to be informed. So for our viewers and subscribers, if they want to learn more about you guys, find you guys online and on your various social media platforms. Craig, you're going to have to take it away. Fee, help him out if he forgets anything. Where can people find you on social media?
You can find us on the Convo Couch YouTube, the Twitch YouTube, the Twitter YouTube, Periscope YouTube.
You mean the Convo Couch Twitch, the Convo Couch
Twitter,
yeah,
YouTube, Facebook, all the social media platforms we know out there, and of course on Rockfin, ROKFIN, and don't forget about our Patreon. But we love the Rockfin stuff. We talked about the cryptocurrency. We got to find a way forward. And for everybody else who helps out with these super chats and our Patreons, thank you so much. The Convo Couch Gmail, if you want to contact us. Fam, did I miss anything?
No, fam. They
did a good job. She gives me good credit when I do a good job. That's a great partner and great partners here. It's awesome. It's a fun show.
Well, then I think I speak on behalf of myself and the rest of the team here. When you guys, if you ever have the chance to come here to Chicago or be here when the convention's happening,
we will be there.
We invite you guys to be at our studio. Maybe special guest commentators and all that other good stuff. But you guys are fighting the good fight. And again, special shout out to Kyle Dawson and Pop Reality. Thank you guys so much for your 2 super chats. And I want to also thank some of your subscribers and viewers who are watching you on your live stream as well. We have to do what we can to get involved, and independent media is leading the way. Craig and Fiorella, you guys are definitely leading the fight, and continue fighting for that better future. And also we got something else mentioned too. Oh, no, another one? I didn't see it.
It was probably on our YouTube. We had somebody by the name of Gabriel Arakari gave us a great super chat contribution.
We are live, folks. So nonetheless, hey, my tech team always has to let me know when I make mistakes. So there we go. Nonetheless, but
no mistakes, babe.
But I just want to end this on a final note. So let me just restart again. I want to thank you guys for definitely joining us here on the show. I believe in fighting for a better future. Independent media is the future for the people in this country, and social media and being online. We have to step up because corporate media is not going to do the job. So Craig and Fiorella, keep fighting the good fight. Never back down. Never surrender. And to all those people who are watching right now, peace to all of you, and let us all do what we can to build a better future.
Thank you very much, Kit.
Thanks for having us on, Kit and guys. We love you guys.
Thank you, Gabriel.